religion, family, and technology. Focus on Liberia uncovers and showcases the best of Liberia and shows the world the truth about Liberia. We educate, elevate, and promote all things Liberia. We conduct interviews, panel discussions, debates, and more. Tune in to Focus on Liberia on Facebook and YouTube and be a part of the stories that make up the news.
This is Focus on Liberia, and I am Dennis Jah.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of On Point. If it's Sunday, it is On Point. And with me are the bread minds of Liberia. My co-host, Michael Padmore, is in the house. My second co-host, Mr. Jimmy Eastman, is back fresh from Liberia, well refreshed, ready to rock and roll. My other buddy here, Mr. Fennell is here. Ben Bombastic, highly educated, well versed. He's here to talk with us. And with me from the city of brotherly love in the Philadelphia area is my old friend from our UPP days and still are, Victor Nangbe. Ladies and gentlemen, you got a great group of guys here. Let's do ourselves a favor. Please share the show. Gentlemen, in each of your network, if you can share within your system, we'll be doing very well. The folks out there, please do us a favor. The show is divided into three parts. Introduction, which I just did. We're going to go into the discussion, the arguments, the merits and the demerits, and then we're going to go into closing arguments. We may take some calls and read some of your comments. It can be directed at anybody, anytime. And by the way, if you think that you are qualified, you have a position or candidate or political philosophy that you want to defend, you are welcome to call us and come on the show. Ladies and gentlemen, let's start with our call. Mr. Michael Padmore, how are you doing? And let's get with this program. How's the family?
Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
All right. So I'm doing well. It's sunny in Minnesota. It's always a beautiful time during the summer in Minnesota. I'm doing well. The family is doing well. I'm glad to be here. And I look forward to a spirited debate with you all.
Great. We have our great friend, a supporter of Unity Party, Mr. Ali Kamara, maybe not a Unity Party, but the aspiration of Joseph Boyka. Mr. Kamara, you are calling us for the nation's capital. How you feel about the family?
I am not calling you from national capital. I'm in Maryland, southern Maryland.
Go ahead. How's the family? How you doing?
Yeah, we're doing great.
Excellent. Mr. Eastman?
Yes, how you doing, guys? It's great to be back on the platform with you guys. I made a lot of observations while in LIB. I was able to see a whole lot of the political pundits and whatnot were there. A lot of people went back to register to be able to vote in September. And the word on the ground is slightly changing, as time goes on. But I'm sure we will get into that. And I'm looking forward to a riveting conversation with you, gentlemen. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Nangbe, you're the newest kid on the block. How's the family?
Thanks, Jerome. All is well. I'm happy to be here. Quick corrections. One, I live in Atlantic City, that is South Jersey, although this is the Philadelphia-Delaware belt, but I wanted to make sure that is corrected. I agree with you. We also go way back, UPP days. So I'm happy to be here. And it looks like Mr. Eastman, I got a memo because I think we shop at the same spot.
That's right.
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with that. Ben Fennell.
Yeah, I want to say thank you for inviting me, and I want to say I'm very happy to be here. Every Liberian hearing the sound of my voice, I want to say hello, good morning, good afternoon, whichever part of the world you are. I look forward to a very healthy interaction. Focus on Liberia is the place I love to be. I will always honor your invitation, and I am very happy to be here, and thank you for inviting me.
Great. Ladies and gentlemen, we have some great topics here. I think we need to delve into. We want to talk about Jefferson Koji. The name resurfaces in and out in several cases of murder. We want to know why this is happening. And there are also some rumors that he's about to ferment chaos. So what is it about Jefferson Koji that irks the opposition? Then we want to talk about my senator for Grand Bassa County, Nyomli Kanga Lawrence. Is she the new darling now for the CPP? That's Cummings / Liberty Party, Mr. Liberty or Ability. We want to know how is that going? Why all of a sudden now Bassa is now everybody want to take this girl to the prom. Before that, everybody left her. You know, nobody was sending invitation to the prom, and all of a sudden she's the darling and all of that. President Weah is now out of the country. So some folks to the opposition, this is something that is bringing back like a flashback. The president is in Great Britain. Gone, you know, in Great Britain when he played for Chelsea, they call him King George. So King George is in London at the coronation of King Charles. So it's only befitting that a king visits another king. And finally, we want to talk about the termination of Mr. Kruger. I guess he was the Minister of Transportation. And something happened.
Post and telecom.
Communication.
Post and telecom. And he was terminated. Some people say it was heartless for the president to dismiss a guy who exercised his constitutional right to support whomever he wants, whenever he wants, wherever he wants. So, gentlemen, check if you are not speaking, please mute your mic, and let's go on from there. Mr. Padmore, let me start with you. We listened to Jefferson Koji, and somebody has a...
Yes, sir. I gotta go inside. The noise too much outside. Go ahead.
Okay. We listened to the press conference of Jefferson Koji and Liberty, and we heard some incriminating discussion going on with people who we find to be luminaries in Liberia in Liberian terms, especially Councillor Jerome Verdier and other folks coaching folks on how to get asylum while making the government look bad. All of these things are things that we have been hearing about, but it's actually on tape. And to my surprise, they didn't deny. Some of them are saying we were only doing it to help a young man who wanted out of the country. Mr. Padmore, this is serious stuff here. You can't just get up and grab someone like Padmore and start concocting stories about him because you don't like him or you don't want to see. So talk to me, Mr. Padmore. What's going on here?
All right. So I listened to some. I would say some because there are so many different tapes going around. I've never seen a country where people feel so comfortable recording others without their knowledge or consent. But I listened to what was put out there. And to be honest with you, I did not hear anything about people concocting stories. I heard people informing a young man how he can get asylum, what process to take, that they will aid him in the process. But I listened several times, and what I was looking for was for a hint of a creation of a lie or a story to say, oh, we'll help you create this story, or we'll help you create this lie, and you will take this lie to immigration and it will give you no. And so we need to separate the two, okay? This gentleman his name very hard to pronounce anyway, but he came and he's seeking the assistance of people, and people offer him assistance. I don't see anything wrong with it. On the other hand, we have once again the certain mayor Jefferson Tamakoji named once more resurfacing in a murder case, resurfacing in plain chaos in Liberia. And at some point in time, you have to step back and see for yourself that where there is smoke, fire there somewhere. I mean, like, why is it always this gentleman? Why does he always seem to be around chaos? You know? And now they're talking about weapons and the training of men. You know, look, has anybody presented any concrete proof? No. But the rumors are too much, especially for a young man like this. And as much as people have come up to advise him, it seems like he's not taking advice. It seems like this is the road that he has decided to take. And, you know, I wish him well with that road, but it doesn't look very good for him. Not at all.
Ben, you got your finger up here. You wanted to say something?
Yes. Sorry I had to butt in, but, you know, Padmo and people who think, you know, like him, they represent clear danger. In the same sentence, Padmo just said there has been no presentation of pieces of evidence to corroborate what is being alleged. But Padmo is speaking as if we should just accept what is happening. You know, I don't agree with this administration. It is disgraceful. It is harmful to Liberia what this opposition group is doing. I would say it is an absence of alternatives. It is an absence of programs, policies to what is going on. I mean, this is disgraceful. You cannot accuse anyone of heinous crime and fail to provide the corroborating evidence. And yet you have this, I mean, we have a panelist on this show literally re-echoing that. It's disgraceful. I would say this man is being targeted simply because this opposition has zero in terms of alternatives. When we accuse people, it is our responsibility to back our accusation up with what I call incontrovertible evidence. You cannot accuse people and say, well, you know, I mean, there was some piece on Spoon.
My hand up too.
There was some piece on Spoon where some guy said, you know, I'm not authorized, you know, to release all the pieces of evidence that I got. If you're not authorized to, to back up your claims, then why are you saying that? You're not accusing somebody of something minor. You're accusing this man of grave offenses. I mean, this has to stop. I'm not his fan. I don't back him. But until we can have the convincing proofs, we should just shut up. Sorry. Thank you.
The man mentioned my name.
One minute, I'm coming, Mr. Pat. We don't want to make it you versus him.
He mentioned my name, that's all.
Yeah, no. There's a number. Here we have, a young man. Can you bring Robert Gagwa in, please? Okay, there you go. Here we have a young man, according to the premise that a lawyer laid. It is quite clear. It is more reasonable. He said from the inception of this particular government, all you heard from the opposition was Jefferson Koji, Nathaniel McGill, and Toy, and Bill Twewe, Serena Cephas. The top three were Toy, Jefferson Koji, and McGill. It has been a part of the plan that once you get rid of these three pillars, the organization will fall. And in that particular recording, you heard one of the men, Sheko, said, "Young man, this government is about..." Sarko said, "The government is about to fall. We want you to do this, do that." Not only that, but the letter that was released by Spoon misspelled the man's name. The man's name is that Gallo. So you know he didn't write it. It was Virgil that wrote the letter and wrote the man's name as Gallo. The boy name is Gao. Mr. Nangwe, when we were doing propaganda and following back as Matthew, this is not how propaganda is done. What is going on in Monrovia there or Iran?
Well, you know, Jerome, quite frankly, I think it would be presumptuous for us to try to debate the allegations that have been levied by both the city mayor and his former police director, because we don't have the facts. But what are the facts that we have? Go back to the U.S. State Department statement of March 20th. I mean, some of the allegations in that statement are being affirmed by these recordings: extrajudicial killings, arbitrary killings. These are allegations that are continuously following the city mayor. I think we all know that. That is a fact. We know of these unexplained and uninvestigated killings that are happening in the country since this government came to power. That is a fact. Now, if the allegation is that the opposition is manufacturing these stories to bring this government down, then is the U.S. Embassy an opposition? Is the U.S. State Department an opposition to this government? I'm not sure of that. But we as Liberians, we know the facts are very glaring, that this government has witnessed so many killings, probably the most in recent times, that have not been investigated, cannot be explained. And the police director is alleging that he is a witness to some of these perpetrations. So if the law mayor is alleging that, you know, he's been maligned, he can go to court and present his case. I was happy that he presented his lawyer, although I think the counsel did not do justice to the matter, because he is alleging that the evidence that was being aired on the Spoon Network was doctored, as well as he himself is also being accused of doctoring the presentation that he is supposed to be relying on to disprove the allegations. So I'm at a loss here. Now, the U.S. ambassador also, if you go back to April 24th, he's pretty much, you know, affirming these allegations. Are we saying too that McCarthy is, I mean, I know the speaker has alleged that the ambassador is on the opposition, which I think is childish and nonsense. I don't think the U.S. ambassador has any fish to fry in this matter, as much as they want to see the Liberian people liberated. I think that's what the concern should be. But as I'm about to, pass it on, where is Valley Taylor? I think that's what we should be talking about. This is the prime suspect in this whole matter. Where is he?
Well, Mr. Name, I had to vehemently disagree. What you mean prime suspect? You heard the police that the man is not a suspect. He was a person of interest. They clear him. So where are you coming from? Let me correct you. Let me correct you right here. Listen to me. The ambassador said, listen, the ambassador said, there is a syndicate of Liberians in the diaspora whose main objective.
Yes. And we remember that when
listen to me,
that when they favor us,
because you right? The ambassador, I want you to quote him right when he said their objective is to discredit every institution in the country, to basically malign this government.
Okay.
And he said those who are sitting in their living rooms in their studio enjoying the First Amendment right in the United States should also remember that with First Amendment right come responsibilities. Correct. He said he is ashamed of the information being passed on to him as legitimate, and he found out that it is fictitious.
He did say that.
And you heard the young man on the tape say their goal is for the government to fall. Robert Gagwa, thank you for coming on.
Oh,
you listen
to that.
You said 1 minute. You say you listen to part of the tape. What is your take on the tape here?
Well.
Who you
First,
talking to?
let me say thanks for the invitation. Let me go back to what Mr. Nutway spoke about earlier. It's fun when we take parts of what the ambassador says to buttress our own points, right? But when he says something that does not align with our thought process, we question what he says. Look, when the ambassador spoke about people making allegations, and when they are asked for facts, they bring absolutely no facts from the comfort of their homes. Opposition people said the ambassador should not melt in the business of Liberian people. He was very clear. When Jerome Verdict sat in the comfort of his home and made an allegation in what is a serious or should be a serious case led by a serious investigation, people said that we should take his words for it, as if his mouth was some Bible, right? He gave absolutely, other than opinions, he gave absolutely no facts relative to this case and what he said. There was not an ounce of facts in anything he said, but there were some within the opposition who says because Jerome Verdict made an allegation, and let's look at the word allegation and what that actually entails, right? Because Jerome Verdict made an allegation that this person was involved, and let me be very clear, I do not support the mayor, and I thought that he wanted to have a press conference to begin with. First of all, he should not have been in the business of defending prompt suspect or persons of interest. That's not his place. If an allegation is brought against you, let your attorney deal with that, right? That's a legal issue. He should not have been doing. But for us to sit on this platform and tell into the ambassador's statement and what we consider facts as opposed to hearsay and allegations is completely bogus and it's completely sad. Look, there are more to this tip that we've heard, Mr. Jerome, that unfortunately we cannot speak in depth to
I think
right
you're
now.
getting long-winded here. Let me ask you this, Robert.
No.
Aren't there extrajudicial killings happening?
Is
that not a fact?
There's a number, please.
No, I just want to yes or no. Is that not a fact?
No, but let's see.
What is bogus about that?
No,
wait.
Go ahead, Robert.
Was it a fact? Was it a fact that people said in the comfort of their home? Look, if you read what the ambassador
no,
said,
I'm not saying that is not true. But you are alleging that.
Said, is it a fact that there are people who sit in the comfort of their home in person of Jerome Verdict? And by the way, we now know that these are not allegations, sir. We now know that, and
you make it when you say sitting in the comfort of their home, you make it sound like it's a bad thing. You yourself right now, you're sitting in the comfort of your home.
There's a number. We speak one at a time, please. Go ahead, Robert.
Folks, 70 people who make damaging comments with the propensity to cause uproar in our country. He specified there's nothing wrong with us sitting in the comfort of our home, constructively engaging in our democracy. We have the right to do that. What he specifically spoke about that we don't want to talk about was people making comments without facts that has the propensity to disrupt the already fragile peace we have in our country. He was very specific about that. So when we talk
about Jerome, let me come in. Let me come in, please, Jim. Jerome.
Let him land. Okay. Mr. Padmore.
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. Get people there.
Mr. Padmore, go ahead. I mean, not
no.
Jimmy.
Eastman. Yes. Allow me to comment. I agree and disagree with Robert. In fact, for the fact that, yes, we don't want people accusing people without facts. And we don't want people causing chaos in our grief-stricken country. I totally agree with that. But let's look at the handwriting on the wall. This is how I do my investigation. I look at a handwriting on the wall. It appears that Mr. Koji has taken the militant stance for the CDC government. Whenever the students were even having their program, it was through his orchestration that it was broken up. The other demonstration the other day with the students going to Mama Point. All these things point to Koji's intervention. He has taken up that role. And even when I went to a meeting when the president came to Washington, D.C. the other day, the president even said sometimes he has to calm Koji down. The president said this in front of audience, a large audience, and he has to calm Koji down. He tells him to take it easy, exercise calm and whatnot. So this is writing on the wall that Koji has been very active in the militancy of the CDC. Now, he also he claims that Verdier, Fangon, and Spoon have a plot at him to defame him and tarnish his name. I was listening to Spoon program. I didn't any ounce of fact against Koji when I listened to it. So it appeared like a smear campaign. And until these people can bring concrete evidence to us, we should not allow that sort of thing in the conversation. But again, we do see the handwriting on the wall of Koji's militant stance against any opposition. That is a known fact. Okay, and that's why I just want to insert that.
Okay, Mr. Kamara.
Yes, sir.
I know I have sat on this platform a million times, and folks accuse me of being a paid agent. In fact, someone said that the CDC government sent me $20,000 monthly. And when these people say these things, there are people out there who will believe that, yes. Can you imagine in this country, you in this country, do you know what well, maybe some of you make that kind of money, $20,000 a month as a largesse extra. I don't make that much money here in this United States. I own a business. My salary don't make $20,000 a month. And someone sent me $20,000 for the past 5 years. I should be a millionaire, but people say these things. Mr. Kamara, should we just take these things on the face value? Someone send you, Joseph Wagner send you $5,000 a month, $20,000, and all of a sudden we say, well, so many people say it so much, there got to be some truth to this. Kamara is getting $20,000 because this man said it, other man said it, and now somebody else is saying it. Where's your take?
Mr. Gilman, the first time you attempted this technique with Victor, you didn't win. You thought you were going to get him on your side, at least to get some kind of defense team. Now you don't jump to Mr. Kamara now to think that he will sympathize with you. No, I'm not going to. Let's say something straight. Joshua at no time was called King George in London. At no time. Benjamin, I want to congratulate you for getting out of the race. I think that was a very smart decision of yours. When I heard you were trying to,
we're talking about Koji. We're not talking about Ben.
I'm coming there. When I first heard you were in the race, I thought something was wrong. But when I heard you got out of the race, I said, yeah, okay, he coming to his senses. But look, you're talking about evidence here on Spoon. Spoon did not have to produce any evidence because Spoon did not accuse Jefferson Koji. You have to understand the entire thing. Spoon did not accuse Jefferson Koji of killing anyone. If you watch the video Jefferson Koji played, in fact, Jefferson Koji made a fool of himself. According to Koji's team, those guys are trying to set him up. In the video, they weren't even talking about setting him up. Instead, they were talking about helping another person get status in America. Now, what Spoon did was give you an inkling as to what Jefferson Koji is assuming. What you saw Spoon did was Spoon just showed you why they had a conversation in the first place. It was nothing for litigation. So let's get that straight. But with the Jefferson Koji thing, I hear people talk about, oh, you need proof and this and that, and other. Some things can be circumstantial. Jefferson Koji, from the days of Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, we know him to be a radical militant. However, at that time, he did not have any gap of authority, so he landed behind bars multiple times trying to defy government. When CDC took over, the youth wing became more powerful. Now he has control over one of the security departments in the city. The police inspector is nobody as far as Jefferson Koji is concerned. The chief of staff of the army is nobody as far as Jefferson Koji is concerned, because Jefferson Koji reports directly to George Weah. He only answers to George Weah. So we saw things happen. We saw the issue in Logan Town. We saw the issue with the lady, what's her name, Crow. She's running for senator for the senatorial seat in Maserati County. I mean, representative seat in Maserati County. We saw that. We saw the issue at the University of Liberia with Jefferson Koji being the frontier. He was right there. We've seen a lot of destruction that has taken place in Monrovia and its surrounding with Jefferson Koji direct signature on it. Why then would someone with common sense not conclude that these things Jefferson Koji has something to do with it? Now we're talking about the gun issue. Spoon again did not say that Valley Taylor was the one who killed whatsoever. But if the director of the city police would say that his gun was taken away from him by Jefferson Koji and given to Valley Taylor, that tells us that Valley Taylor must be a special man to Jefferson Koji, because this man is the director. He's higher than Valley. So if you can take his gun and give it to Valley, what is the motive behind that? Now we need you guys like you and Mr. Gagwa to explain to us what's the motive.
Ladies and gentlemen, the 1 minute.
I need to come in, Mr. Game. I need to come in, please. I need to come in.
No. Mr. Padmore.
I need to come in.
Mr. Padmore. Mr. Padmore.
I need to come in, please.
This, Mr. Kamara says, when an allegation is made, you don't need any evidence.
You don't.
Based on what he knows. So people were saying,
I didn't say that.
We're here. People are saying Joseph Boakai is a dead man walking. Joseph Boakai is senile. Joseph Boakai doesn't know his age. Joseph Boakai walked from Foya to Monrovia at age 5, and he can't even drive to Foya as he stands. So all of these things now, based on his logic, we should accept.
Nah.
In our court of law. Okay? Like
I need to come in, please.
1 minute, I'm coming to you.
You're not laying friend at all.
Listen, the premise is in our system, jurisprudence, you have to be found guilty in the competent court of law. You cannot sit there and say, well, if they say everybody says they might be true, Mr. Padmore, go ahead. Following the talking point of your partner here, Mr. Victor Nambe, who supposed Cummings, coming with his talking point. Go ahead.
You feeling now? Look, here's the thing. Okay, you cannot demand that every time somebody comes up with an accusation, they must come with unrefuted facts. Mr. Ben Phineas says that all day and accuses Mr. Cummings of one thing after. Has he ever provided any facts yet? Never. He just said that open your mind, everything comes outside. Look, here's the thing. You have to ask yourself, of all the people in CDC, why this young man? And Mr. Kamara just laid out for you why. Why it sticks. Because this man has on numerous occasions displayed such attitude. So when people say these things about him, people tend to believe it, or people tend to become more curious. How do we then? Somebody else asked about Verdier. Look, everything Verdier said didn't come off to me as absolute fact. But we have to understand one thing: the reason why we know Valley Taylor name today is because of Verdier. Before Verdier mentioned that name, nobody knew about him. Nobody knew who he was. Nobody knew who he was to Jefferson Koji until that name was brought up by concept of Verdier. And then people started to look into it. And then people started to realize, oh, that man was an old fighter. He fought in Sano. He did certain things in Sano. He's close to the mayor. And on and on and on and on. The video is out there where the mayor stood up and said that he said we're meeting flesh and blood. I mean, come on, man. Why are you wasting time on this thing here? Jefferson Koji is a militant. He's behind these things 100%. And we need to look, when a new government comes in next year, investigations will be had, and the evidence that you're crying for, Ben, will be laid before you. Until then, keep crying for Joe Weah. Christian, man.
I have to come in, please.
Ben.
Yes.
Here, 1 minute before you come in,
yeah.
We have tape here where Mr. Cummings is on tape when Jakete asked him about being gay. Cummings said it is a lifestyle that I struggle with. That being gay.
Come on, give me. That's below the belt.
Excuse me,
people.
We are talking about facts. We are talking about facts. The fact here, the man said it is a lifestyle that I struggle with. And Diakete asked him, "Are you sure you got the right answer?" He said, "Yeah, I want the Liberian people to see the real coming. The real." He said, when politics come, you can find a political answer for that. But for now, that's my lifestyle. And I struggle. Go ahead, Mr.
Where did that even come from? How did that come in here?
No, you're desperate. We're desperate. Like your own friend.
No, one thing I want to see.
Wait. Point of correction.
No. Please, that's my turn, sir.
He was giving it to correct his statement. I just want to make a regular.
Let's protect Ben. Let's protect Ben.
One thing I want to say here, I want us to respect our audience because there are a lot of people listening to us right now. Let's not go the way of Spoon TV or some other low-key media outlet. Please, I am not interested in discussing allegations that have no proofs. I'm not. Because it makes no sense. It makes us to look foolish. If we are accusing anybody, including all of us here on this stage, we must have pieces of evidence.
But who's accusing who?
No, what I'm saying is what is ongoing in Liberia.
Nobody's accusing anyone.
Jefferson Koji did it. Jefferson Koji, you see, it makes no sense.
That's speculation.
You have to protect the man when you're speaking one at a time, please.
Sorry, the president. No problem.
Stating conjectures. We will end up saying things that we don't even understand or we don't even know. So please, Mr. Host or your co-host, let's stick to what I call substantive issues. Because this goes nowhere. It goes nowhere. This man, if anybody will accuse him of anything, I am not his fan. I'm not on his side. I'm just saying if you're accusing anyone of heinous crimes, you must have corroborating pieces of evidence. You can't just talk and want us to buy that. Thank you.
Mr. Moderator, I think the previous speaker is really, I think he's probably having problem understanding why we're here. Because we're not here to accuse anybody. We are here to discuss the issues that are trending in Liberia.
No, we cannot be re-echoing stuff that have no proof.
Let the man talk. Let the stab the man. Go ahead, Victor.
Listen, now we go ahead.
We're trying to.
By the way, Namwe is an ANC man. Go ahead, sir.
My friend Jerome was doing okay when we were friends, but now he's even doing much better since he became unabashed. We are supporters. So this 20,000 thing, we gotta look into it. But what I'm trying to say to my previous presidential candidate here is that we are not here to make allegations. We are not accusing anybody. We are discussing the issues as they are appearing on the Liberian stage. There is a back and forth between the Spoon Network and the Lord Mayor and his former chief of police. And we're discussing the allegations that they are lobbying at each other here, but nobody is actually making an allegation here. I wanted to make that clarification.
Thank you.
I think, Mr. Gamer, I think we should move on. I think we got a lot to cover, man. You muted, Chief.
Yeah, we got a lot to cover. Let's move on because
listen, guys, welcome to another
everything Ben
Please
said.
share the show. We got some great guys here, great topic, great minds. Now let's go down to what I see trending when it comes to politics in Liberia. Now let's talk about my own Senator Nyobli Kanga Lawrence. If she wasn't a woman, I would say We are dancing do-si-do. But now she is the hottest thing in Liberia. Mr. Kamara?
Yes, ma'am.
I will begin with you because the Bassa people are mad with you. You took our daughter to the altar and left us standing. You didn't show up. So now here we are. Somebody else is coming with a red bottom shoes. Should we trust now that Cummings is coming around proposing that she is the most beautiful woman on the planet, the Bassa queen? In fact, she is so pretty that Bob Grimmie had given her up before he died. All of these sweet talk, you know that Monrovia boys now, they come over all this sweet talk. Should Nyobli Kanga listen and hold Cummings' hand and say, you are the chosen one?
First of all, when you say Joseph Boakai or whoever carried Yombli and let her die and all of that, I think this is the misconception that a lot of people carry, you know, that Joseph Boakai had any intention of making Yombli his vice president. Nobody knew that. We all were speculating. This is what we wanted, so we put it in the airways. And Joseph Boakai is a peculiar kind of individual. He's going to do what he's going to do. If you don't believe me, ask Ellen. The reason why Ellen fell apart is because he cannot be a robot stamped. You know, at no time Joseph Boakai ever told Yombli that she was going to be his vice president. I think Yombli kind of had the expectation because of the cordial relationship, the father-daughter kind of loving relationship that was between them. So she could easily conclude that this man cannot jump over me. But there were other factors, and I like people to know today. Does Joseph Boakai want Yombli to be on the same ticket? Yes. Is it possible? It is possible. But what are the hindrances? What are the issue of laws that will handle his campaign when it comes to selecting Yombli? And a lot of people don't look at these things. Musa ability is out to destroy. And not that he can win, but he can distract. If Yombli was selected by Joseph Juma Boakai, Musa ability would have distracted. We would have gone through a lot of rigmarole, legal rigmarole, with Joseph Boakai being as wise as he is. He's been through this before. They had to force him and drag him into court where he didn't want to go, the city of and he doesn't want to go through that route. And that's why Yombli was not selected.
What legal rigmarole are you speaking about?
Listen, man, Kamara, you are protected. Go ahead, land.
No, I just asked him a question.
No, man, you asking, Mr. Kamara, don't forget this man, an ANC man. I land.
Okay. So when you ask me about, first of all, there's nothing in me that believes that Yombli would go with Comey as vice president. Again, I might be wrong. But for what Cummings and the ANC did to Yombli, they reduced her to nothing through Musa ability. They removed her from her position as standard bearer of a political leader of her party. Alexander Comey walked with Musa ability hand in hand, ate and drank with Musa ability hand in hand as they drag Yombli in the dump. And yet, they want to go back to her and mislead her. Now, any mistake on Yombli part to go with Cummings, because in fact, we know Cummings is not going to win the election. And Yombli and Cummings, they will lose the election if she do go with Cummings. And what's going to happen to her is she lost a lot of recognition. She lost a lot of respect. So I would seriously advise her, if I were her advisor, not to go that route. What?
When you say Yombli lost a lot of respect, what do you mean by that?
I said she will if she goes.
Why would her going with Alexander Cummings allow her to lose respect?
Yeah, go ahead, Lance, so we can move on to the next person. Go ahead.
Because mathematically, Cummings cannot win election. Okay. Not just any election, presidential election in Liberia. If she leaves Boakai now, because she's still in that Boakai camp as we speak, there are a series of meetings and phone calls and texts still going on between them. If she leaves Boakai now in desperation to become vice president, and it doesn't happen, will she have face to go back? Let me not say if it doesn't happen, because it will not happen unless elections are miracle.
Great.
Then
Great.
come your way, lecture Liberia.
I
Wait,
presume
Mr.
you're not a mathematician, so
Mr.
I will
Mr.
forgive you
Namwe,
that.
Mr. Namwe.
Yes, sir. But
Now,
you know,
listen to
if you
listen,
They
say
got to you, they got
Mr.
to you,
Namwe,
Mr.
listen. That number when you and I were in the UPP, you were very structured.
I am really being quiet here, but
The CPPT have corrupted you. But let's go to what does this say about Joseph Boakar's ability to make sound decisions? Okay, you know, in the past, people have saying the old man he lacks decision making. He's very slow. He doesn't understand what it takes to make decisions. In the United States, I think Mrs. Clinton would say 4 o'clock in the morning when that phone call comes on that red phone, you have to make a decision in a split second. Joseph Boakar took 6 years, and some people say he still got it wrong. What do you think?
You know, I like to think that with Ambassador Boakar's age and all of that, he should be a wise old man. You know, he should be the sage right now on the stage. But I am really beginning to wonder.
This is considered insult in the United Party camp. No, let me clarify.
We don't care. We don't care.
Darling, you cannot interrupt the man.
We don't care what you think.
He has his right to his opinion.
You don't care what UP thinks.
Exactly.
The ambassador seems to have a pattern of misfiring, you know. We can go back to Emmanuel Nukwe, and now we are back here with Jeremiah Kong. You know, when I was coming in here, I just went back to 2017 and looked at the numbers. The analytics will inform you that Yombi Kanga, you said she's hot on the scene, obviously, because we all know the Bassa people are in Bassa, they are in Margibi, they are in Riverses, they are in Bung, they are in Nimba. I'm just giving you. Thank you very much. So I'm giving last year, the last elections, the Nimba recorded vote was about 214,000. And let me inform you, Mr. Cummings came fourth in that county in Nimba. If you go back, just Margibi and Bassa alone will bring you over 215,000 votes from 2017. That alone will neutralize the so-called Nimba vote. I have not even added Riverses. I haven't added Bung. I haven't added Maserado. I haven't added Nimba. So I think it is very smart for Mr. Cummings if he is going to go with Senator Kanga Lawrence. I agree with Mr. Kamara to some extent that it may diminish her a little bit because now she seems to be going from party to party because she wants to be vice president. But hey, how many of our Liberian politicians have not gone from party to party? You know, I mean, Ambassador Boakar was with UPB before he became United Party. They all move around. But I think it is very smart. I hope he's going to really do the due diligence and announce his running mate. But really, there is no rush. Now, why is his running mate so important in this election? I think the issue of the running mate is more important to the ambassador because many people are saying, given his age and his, I don't want to, his health history and all that, there's a very likelihood that whoever becomes his running mate is most likely going to be the president. This is why many people are concerned. I don't think Mr. Cummings has that very concern that he does. And so when we are going to elections, we normally don't make the running mate such a big issue. But it is a big issue this year, this time around, because of the conditions that I have just enumerated. But again, when you go to the numbers don't tell you that Nimba is going to be the game changer that many people are predicting it would be. So I think it's smart if he's trying to zero in on Lawrence or somebody from the Bassa Belt.
Great. Mr. Fana.
I'd like to add on to something Mr. Nabi just said, Jerome. Let me add on to something. This is what has always been my concern. This has always been my concern with Ambassador Boakar. Always been my concern. Who will be running the government? You're looking at the candidate. I agree. A wise old man, veteran statesman, and all of that. Advancing age. But who will be running the country? Think about it. You know the amount of energy this man has exhibited year after year after year. That means you're going to need somebody who actually be running the day-to-day affairs of that country. Who? Now that you have brought Kuhn in, who is going to be running that country? You look at the ambassador, but you don't look at who behind him. That is supposed to be our concern. The group he's bringing, who is going to be his truth lieutenant? Are we going to put our hands into capable hands, or are we going to put our hands into an issue that's going to divide the country and we'll be in worse trouble than we are today? So this has always been my concern.
Yeah. The first thing I want to say, especially so to the guest who spoke before, my good friend Mr. Eastman, Liberians have a thing for wordplay. Bassel belt. Nobody has what I call documented proof that such a thing even exists, and it is influential.
I just said that. I just said it does exist.
Excuse me.
Reason.
I'm talking about in line of national politics, electoral.
Oh, how do you think, Mr. How do you think Mr. Bronsky came?
You see, when we say these things, I will keep emphasizing this. We must.
You know what? You'll continue to advise your candidates. Will advise.
We must come with the data. We must come with the data. No one has been able to prove that such a thing exists and is influential in terms of national elections. People just throw out words, conjectures with no fact. I believe it doesn't exist. It doesn't. It's just a catchphrase. Everybody uses it because it sounds good. I will say this. Nyomli, politically, she literally, it's hard for me to say this. She is not a best choice. She hasn't been announced yet. She adds nothing to any ticket politically. She doesn't. Legislative footprint, excuse me, legislative, she has no footprint. There's nothing we can turn to and say, well, Nyomli authored this bill and Liberians are gaining something from it. Green Bassa County, there's nothing that we can show. Show me the footprints, body of work. Show me something that would bring sufficient addition to a ticket. Nyomli comes from a group that is literally fractured. And I don't think it can even be mended. So this is yet another very poor political decision of the ANC that points to the fact that Cummings is politically naive.
Take Cummings from your mom, man.
Politically naive. Excuse me, sir. Last thing I want to say in line to that, when we are talking about this thing, especially so number-wise, let's showcase the numbers. In Liberia, you need only 4 major counties. You need Mosorado, you need Nimba, you need Lofa, then you need Bone. Those are the order of importance.
That's wrong.
That's wrong.
That's wrong.
Excuse me, sir.
That is wrong.
Okay.
You gotta get a man chance to speak.
Yeah. You see, so when we are in the stage where we want to make our plans, we have to be detailed. Now look at the decision. We are all talking about it. Oh, Nyomli Kanga. Something came in my heart last night. How much research did even the ANC do? In terms of this choice, we don't know if it's set in stone now. How much background work did they do to say, well, this is sufficient to push it over the line? Nothing. So, like I said, last thing I want to say here, it shows the incompetence of the ANC as well as the individual himself, Mr. Alexander Cummings.
You finished?
Are you finished?
Just one second, Mr. Moderator.
Mr. Padmore, we are talking about the decision making here. Nyomli Kanga is the queen. Everybody wants to now take to the prom. Did Joseph White guy make a mistake by not picking a female, a woman who everybody thinks can bring something to the table? What do you think about Nyomli Kanga / Cummings, and is it possible?
Yeah, of course, it's politics. Anything is possible. I think she makes a strong case. She's a female. She brings a female vote. You know something? It's a little unfortunate here that we are all men, but have no fury than a woman scorned. I think we've all heard that before, okay? And the women were rallied behind Yombly because they feel like she was mistreated. We have an old man who manipulated her, who made her feel like she had a really good chance. And like Kamara said, all along, he had no intention, absolutely no intention of picking her. But he didn't let her know. He wasn't upfront with her. He didn't present to her the proper way. So when she was buying the picker there, he accepted it. When she was raising money on her behalf, he accepted it. When she was fighting her own party scenes in her own party to bring them over to him, he accepted it. And he had no intention of picking this woman. Okay? And now because somebody else now is trying to quote her, now all of a sudden he in her feelings. No! Yombly will do herself good. But look, there's certain things will happen. The first thing is that she will have if Yombly returns to the CPP, the first thing is that she will unite her party. Because that's where the other part of the Liberty Party is. If she comes back to the CPP, she will unite Liberty Party. Okay? That's the first thing. The second thing that it will show that she's able to mend fences. Okay, when it comes to Liberia, that she can lay aside her ego, lay aside whatever she feels has been done to her, and she can come and bring things together because of Liberia, for the betterment of Liberia. The third thing is that she can bring the Bassa. You don't know the Bassa people. You don't know the Bassa people. For too long, we have been overlooked in our country. Everyone say, the Gia people, the Mana people, the Pela people. Okay? The Bassa people are one of the strongest people in that. We are calm. We're not loud. We are not loud, and we are not demanding. Okay, but you all do not. Yes, we are not loud, and we are not demanding.
You see how calm? You see how calm? This Bassa man talking. You see how slow he's talking?
Yes. They want to come. Trust me. Because when we wake up, we'll wake up well. Okay. You don't take our calmness for weakness. We will unite behind. It is time for a Bassa person to be on the ticket, and we will unite behind that Bassa person, and we will take that person all the way. So let's make that very clear, Mr. Finier.
Well, listen. Let me tell you this. I'm going to
tell you something.
I'm going to use it. Let me quote my boy or my friend Kamara here. Mr. Kamara, listen keenly. Let me reply this man. Mr. Padmore, you are a Bassa man. I'm a Bassa man. Eastman here is a Bassa man. Okay. Gagwa is a Bassa man. Okay. We are not going to allow you to steal our thunder. We're not going to be sympathizing with you. We're going to say it straight, right, Mr. Kamara? And that's what you told me.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Isn't that the tactic?
Let me say this.
People.
I think Victor has an eloquent way of misleading people.
My man, I ain't going to Victor.
I want to talk about. I
want to stop. I
want to talk, please.
Mr. Gagwa.
I really
for the first time, this man when Joseph Waka talk about what the man said. Costa said Joseph Waka is a travelist. Joseph Waka is there. Now all of a sudden, Mr. Padmo said we the Bassa people, we should gang up against them. Are we travelers too? Isn't he a
well, look, let me say this. I really enjoyed Padmo. I think that he spoke well on behalf of his candidate. I'm a Bassa man. I think I'm the youngest Bassa man on this panel, right?
Who told you? How you know? How you know?
I could be wrong. I'm assuming, right? But I don't. I tend to not. I don't think I'm on the side of tribal politics. As a young man and a young man who wants to see a more inclusive Liberia and one that we make decisions. I want you to listen to me very carefully. I'm not saying that tribal politics does not exist in our country. It does. But what I am saying is I don't want to find myself only supporting a candidate based on his or her tribal connection, right? I want to support a candidate based on his or her vision for our country and how well he or she articulates that vision and the record, right? That record. But let's get back to, and so Bassa, I think Bassa is one of, I don't think the Bassa people are given the kind of credit that they deserve in our ballot politics. But for anyone to say that Miss Senator Lawrence linked to Bassa means absolutely nothing, then that person just does not understand what he or she is talking about.
Absolutely.
The fact of the matter is, look, I heard the Unity Party people argue the basis for which Senator Cohn was picked. They've argued that unlike Gonglo, who I thought would have been a more threatening pick, he has won elections, not just as a representative, but as a senator. When we question the impact he's made, even with those two areas he's served, they have pretty much nothing to show, right? When we talked about what bill has he championed as a representative and as a senator, they have nothing to show. But let's not make no mistake. As co-chair of the Ways, Means, and Finance Committee, then Chair Thomas Falah, his own body, and mind you, the legislature is one of the most corrupt and inept branch of government in our country. And in as much as those guys themselves have some tainted record, they demanded the dismissal and open an investigation into a $300,000 misappropriation of funds when they were there. When the famous Thomas Falah roll, Jeremiah Cohn roll was sung at the Capitol, it was because of that. This is the man who Prince Johnson himself on tip called greedy for power, and so forth and so on. But let's get to Joseph Boakai. I said something the other day, and I want to read exactly what I said, and I thought that was very troubling as I thought about it, right? This is what I said the other day. For an old man, and I don't use the word old man in any condescending way, right? But the fact that he is an elderly old man. For an old man believed to be the most experienced, he constantly makes decisions like a heeless rookie. That is grievously alarming for any rescue mission. Look, experience from our perspective should not only rest on how long this man has lived. Of course, with age come, wisdom, right? But I think that when you look at a man who has been in public service for this long, and you have all of these folks around
Why
him.
do you just talk randomly? No basis.
What do you mean no?
You're just talking all kind of stuff. What yardstick have you measured to know that his experience is based on?
Please let him speak.
Okay, wait. I'll give you two examples. I'll give you two examples. We live and we try to learn from our mistake, Ali. But forget his age. When you look at the pick in 2017, that particular pick in 2017 essentially ended the campaign of Joseph Boakai. You can disagree all day. Look at the pick in 2017. Wait. Look at the pick in 2017 and look at this pick right now. And tell me whether or not Joseph Boakai seriously learned from his mistake that was made almost 6 years ago. Look, it's clear. Hello? Audible?
Yeah, you're breaking up.
Am I audible? Can you hear me?
Yes.
It's clear here that Joseph Boakai lacks the ability to make serious and sound decisions, even if his own life depends on it. It's clear that this pick is exactly what the opposition wanted. And for anyone to sit on this platform now to question if Cummings picked Yamikanka Lawrence and what that actually means, especially one who supports Joseph Boakai and the JMB and the Jeremiah Cohn pick, I think it's hypocritical.
Great.
Mr. German.
Come on, real quick.
Mr. German, let me just say.
Real quick, let's go to our FOL jingle for a few minutes.
Hello and welcome to Focus on Liberia. For education, information, culture, entertainment, and overall wide variety of programs, tune in to Focus on Liberia, the best in Liberian diaspora television. We are Focus
Ladies and gentlemen, those were the jingles from Focus on Liberia. This program is being brought to you by our mother program here, Focus on Liberia. We want you to contribute as much as you can. The number is growing. Please make a contribution, get this show going. The last jingle you saw, or the flute you saw playing there, when there's special events on the ground, breaking news, the next guy usually brings that to you through between the headlines. It's a very, very informative way of bringing us breaking news. Ladies and gentlemen, we have great guys here. Share this show. We are going to be opening lines soon at some point where you can call and interact. We're going to be reading some of your statements. Mr. Kamal, you wanted to say something? Yeah. Then we'll go to Mr. Padmore. Mr. Eastman. He's been very quiet and just waiting to strike. Go ahead.
Yeah, Mr. Gilman, Robert said a lot of stuff, and I will not spend too much time addressing it. But let me just say this. In 2017,
yeah.
In 2017, even if Joseph Boakai had chosen Barack Obama, Joshua would have won the election. There was no question about who was going to win in 2017. Once Ellen was leaving, it was clear to everyone that George Weah was going to be the next president. So the argument of whether Joseph Boakai pick was this, a pick was that has nothing to do with any reasonable conversation in this thing. Another thing, I want to address Victor when he named all of those places, Riverside, Grand Bassa, Mark Gibby. Let me tell you something. Mr. Bronsky, Councilor Bronsky ran 2 elections, as far as I know, twice. Mr. Bronsky only won Grand Bassa County.
I know that.
All right. Why didn't Mr. Bronsky win Monserrado? Why he didn't win Mark Gibby County? Why he didn't win Riverside County? In the 2017 election, why he didn't even win Riverside County? So to think that because someone is Bassa, you have to understand, I grew up in Bassa, in Timon. The Bassa people are one of the most versatile people. My grandfather, Madingo man, was elected as paramount chief by Bassa people in the Bassa clan. Do you understand what I'm telling you? So to say is just to conclude that because somebody is chasing Yombly, all the Bassa people follow Yombly, you're dreaming.
That was not what was spoken.
But that was not what was said.
That's
There's no sense to think that just because you
he gave numbers. The 200 he gave numbers.
Ladies and gentlemen,
how do you process?
Let's deal with the format. When someone is talking, we have to
give numbers. He said those numbers.
Alil, let me come in a little bit now. Alil, that is not.
Mr. Eastman, go ahead.
Right. Yeah.
I'm breaking up.
Alil, the question is not that. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
So the question is not that so much about Yombly. It's not so much about Yombly. I'm telling you, a vote for Joseph Boakai is rolling the dice. You do not know what in the world you're about to get. Because somebody has to run that. The man is advancing age. Somebody has to run that country, and you have Kuhn and PYJ want to get away from the presidency. You are rolling the dice. We can talk about Yombly all day. We can talk about companies not winning, but right now, what you're getting by electing Joseph Boakai. That's why I want to say you don't know what you're getting.
Can I address that?
1 minute. It's for now.
Yes. Yeah. Mr. Gagwa says some interesting things. One of the things I like is when we come on these shows, we should be armed with numbers. Statistics. Just to what my friend Mr. Kamara just said. The Bassa Belt is a myth. It doesn't exist. But let me tell you this. Yombly, when was the last time she participated in a competitive election? It was in, let me give the exact date. It was in
we all know
2020. Now, Yombly won all but 22,000 votes to become a senator. 22,000. Grand Bassa County. And let me tell you this, the CDC in Grand Bassa County, CDC won 20,000 votes in that same election. What I'm telling you is, Youngly has no numerical advantage. She brings nothing to the ticket.
Okay, take it out. Next person.
So no, hold on. You see, when we talk, let our words be backed by the data. Gagwa said one interesting thing that I agree with. Never choose somebody because of their ethnicity. Don't do that. Normally, we could have chosen her if she had what we call legislative footprints. I ask, I don't know. I want somebody on this show today to tell me, has she authored a bill?
Why would you
is there anything we can go to see and say, well, Youngly initiated this and Liberians are gaining something from it? Is there any footprints anywhere? That's what I'm talking about. Last thing I want to say, people come on these shows and we make conjectures. Let's look at the numbers. Let's look at the numbers. No,
wait for the man, Pamo.
You said the last thing. The man said the last thing. I'm the last thing.
No, hold on, excuse me.
Mr. Padmore, let the man land. Go ahead.
Okay, last one. Let's go. Last one.
Let's go, Mr. Finman.
Yeah. You see, it is numerically impossible for the ANC to win. Numerically, it's impossible.
All right.
But let me tell you this. The problem that I have with the UP is what Mr. Eastman is raising. It amounts to competence. With Waka does he have what it takes to manage the country, especially so considering his advanced age? That is something that we have to consider. So we can argue all we want. As we speak here today, I have not seen documentation in terms of what the Unity Party wants to do with Liberia. I see no blueprints. I see no roadmap. So how are you going to lead this country? The same thing can be said of the ANC. Where are you going to take Liberia? We should be on this show right now, debating, engaging in discussion in terms of the blueprints, the form, the layout these parties have in terms of management of Liberia. So I agree with Mr. Eastman. It is a fear that is right. Where will this man take Liberia in case
I want to allay Mr. Eastman's fear. Mr. Eastman.
That is a valid argument. That's what I will raise. Thank you.
Mr. Kamara.
Yeah.
I didn't want to go back to the Waka thing, but this thing aroused my conscience here. Prince Johnson made a comment a couple of years ago, and after that, I'm going to Victor Nangbe. Prince Johnson said, "We brought war, we killed people in this country." Ellen, he said, Charles Taylor killed people, they made him president. Ellen killed people, you made her president. I kill people, it's my time to be president. He said that. Now, to have him appoint his son to be vice president to an elderly old man, don't you think it arouses people's conscience to say, this man going to kill this man again because he had killed president, he killed people. You could kill this man and he become president to fulfill his own prophecy where he said, I am next in line. Charles Taylor killed, Ellen killed, I killed, it's my turn. Isn't this a way of coming to presidency through the back door?
I'm coming to dismantle your logic, but give me 1 second here.
No, not my logic. His speech, that's what he said. That's not logic. That's fact. That's what he said.
All right. Mr. Eastman. First and foremost, I want you to rest, sleep fine. When the gavel of authority the gavel of authority is given to Honorable Joseph Yuma Bogai, you will see what a responsible, accountable government is in the very near future. Very soon, in the next few weeks, Mr. Kong will be coming out with different press releases. He'll be engaging the press. He'll be engaging town halls. He wants you to know him. A lot of the things that you guys say about him is just presumptuous. Mr. Gilman, let me just say this to you. Yes, maybe you have a point. Maybe Johnson will kill Waka and take over. Maybe you have a point. But remember, though, Johnson was just with George Weah. Remember, though, Johnson was just with George Weah. He didn't kill George Weah. You have to remember the time Johnson was with Ellen. He didn't kill her.
He did not come on an MDR.
It's only Buakai is going to kill. Remember one thing. See, this is the hypocrisy about us. When Johnson joined you, he merged. I mean, let me say he collaborated with you. When he joined you. Johnson has not collaborated with the Unity Party. Yet you're uncomfortable. We have no agreement. We have no agreement. We have nothing with Johnson. That's the first thing. You were in bed with Johnson with his signature on paper, giving him rights to your government. We don't have that. And you worry about Johnson? Johnson is not cool. My son looks like me. My son is not me. Okay?
Listen, Mr. Padmore.
Yeah, man.
Mr. Padmore, 1 minute, real quick. Prince Johnson complained. In one of his complaints, he said he collaborated with the CDC, and since President Weah became president, President Weah have never met with him. President Weah kept him away, doesn't want to touch him with a 10-pole stick. So
that's not what he said.
He is upset. Now, this man is talking about, he says, Jeremiah Kuhn is my son. I'm relinquishing my position to him, and he should be the next vice president. You are talking about not even that, but now he has become a spokesman for Joseph Boakai. He went on national TV. He said the reason we didn't pick, he talking about him now, he part of the Joseph Boakai. The reason we didn't pick Nyobi Kanga is by some people.
Mr. Gilman, you're trying to mislead the audience. Mr. Johnson is not a spokesman. Remember, there is no collaboration going to the election. All right? It is a Unity Party going to the elections. Mr. Johnson is not a spokesman for the Unity Party.
Mr. Padmore, the man said the Bassa people cannot be trusted.
Yes.
He said,
he did not say Bassa people. He said Youngblade.
And wasted on another
he did not say Bassa people.
Trusted. The Bassa people
I will not allow you to distort information here.
Mr. Padmore, isn't that a man who speaks authoritatively for Joseph Boakai?
Let me ask you a question. When Kuhn was picked, who are the 5 person that came outside and told that Kuhn was the pick?
Anybody could have talked. Anybody could have talked.
Are you kidding me?
Anybody
could have talked. I said, who came outside?
I said, Prince Johnson.
Who came outside the first day and told us, it's the NIMA ticket and Kuhn is going to be the VP. It was Prince Johnson. After the program, who are the first person to leave from there and go on the media to go speak?
It does not matter.
What do you mean by it doesn't matter?
When ANC were going after Prince Johnson, why didn't you guys say all this stuff? Doesn't matter. We don't.
Let me tell you something. When you have a man who wants to be president and he's almost 80 years old, it is very important who his successor will be. You see, you're the United Party people. Let me tell you something.
No, Mr. Padmore, don't insult our intelligence. Say the man is 80 years old. You know the man is 97. Don't do that to us, man.
Okay. No, here's the thing. You see, the United Party people, they don't understand something. And here's it. If something happens to Joseph Boakai, according to our laws and our constitution, okay, immediately Jeremiah Kuhn will become president. The second thing is that Jeremiah Kuhn will hold the sole right to pick his vice president.
Absolutely.
United Party will be cut out.
And they will have no say-so in that.
Yeah. You're not thinking. You're so Abu Kiri for the president business that you will do anything possible. And this is what the Liberian people need to think when they go into the polls. This is what they need to keep in mind when they are going to the polls. That when you are picking a Boakai Kuhn ticket, keep in mind that you are looking at a Kuhn presidency. Okay? And you might very well end up with a Prince Johnson vice president.
Yeah,
but what about Mr. Jerome? Just quickly, Mr. Padmore, what about the Henry Coastal factor? We haven't even talked about that.
No, we
continue to undermine Ms. Senator Lawrence. As a matter of fact, some of my good friends who were on the vetting team have said, watch and see what happens. Yomi Kanga Lawrence is not considered Brumskin. Well, I won't make that comparison. But what about the ALP factor? Remember, it's been almost 2 weeks since the ticket was announced, and the top team led by a very influential young lady who comes from the ALP, they have now put out an official congratulatory message to that particular ticket right now, right? Are they going to underestimate the Henry Costa factor as
Look,
well?
Mr. Jimmy,
Are they going to underestimate the Dillon factor as well? Are they going to underestimate the fact that Liberty Party could unite, and if that possibly happens, that could pose a serious threat to more so to JMB than it would to the ruling party? Look, you have to put these things in perspective, and I think that the opposition, especially the Unity Party, who have put itself on this pedestal as the biggest opposition political party in Liberia, put this in perspective and say, look, did we miss some opportunities here? I think that Unity Party missed opportunity when JMB was elected chairman of the CPP. It was an opportunity to say, look, I'm the elder in this room, and I want Alice Cummins, I want Yomi Gunga Lawrence, I want the ALP Uri, come together and let's sort this thing out internally. I think that was an opportunity missed instead of throwing the red flag. It was an opportunity missed for the elder in the room to say, look, Yomi Gunga Lawrence, even if ability supports ANC, this is in the interest of the opposition. We need to come together. So if that thing goes to the second round, there's a strong possibility here that your folks can support me or my folks can support you. But these people have been focused on themselves. It has always been about self, and not the interest or the plot of the Liberian people. And this, my friend, will ultimately hurt them come October 10th.
Great. Ladies and gentlemen, our lines are open. You can call the numbers there, 772-940-2871. If you want to call Mr. Padmore, you can also use his line to call him directly. He will bring you on. Same thing with Mr. Victor Nangbe. If you have a question, you can call Victor Nangbe and he will bring you on. Same thing with Mr. Fanier and also with Mr. Padmore. The number there to call is 772-940-2871. We will bring you in, and you can ask your question, you can make your comment. Yeah, Mr. Fennell, real quick, so we can transition into our last line.
You know, Jerome, I think you've gone back to Mr. Fennell.
Okay. Hold on,
Mr. Nambe hasn't spoken. Y'all give him a chance.
Yeah, Mr. Nambe, I think you are right because you see, we got an ANC guy who ate up all your time. But go ahead. You know he talks too much.
Thank you. You know, way back, I'm sure everyone has forgotten because it's been such a long time, but I remember Mr. Fenier disputing my assertion that there exists a Bassa belt, and I think Mr. Kamara also challenged that. And
no, I didn't say that.
Yes, you did.
No.
You said, yeah. First of all, Benjamin
said nothing about Bassa belt.
Benjamin said you need to win. Benjamin said you need to win 4 counties to win an election. I was telling him, okay, you know, we're all looking at the statistics, but we may interpret them differently. I think what he's trying to say is those are the biggest vote getters in Liberia. That's a fact. But what he is now looking at is you could lose 2 of those and win several other little counties around those 2 and still get in the mansion. Sure. And this is why we're happy to advise our candidate. We're looking at the analytics and we think we have a path. Now, I also opened by expressing my concern over the ambassador decision making. I mean, many of you have indicated that we started with Speaker Nukwe and now his recent pick. And now reference has just been made to his inability to manage the CPP. That says a lot. Now look at his recent pick and how much that has already sent his forces in disarray. He lost Ure on this pick. He lost Costa on this pick. He lost Yombly on this pick. He lost Dillon on this pick. Where is his capacity to manage contending forces? It doesn't seem to exist.
But you go pick your own.
Okay, guys.
1 minute.
There's a Victor well said.
I got a caller here. I have a caller who has
we don't care.
Here. We have a question. Okay. Go ahead, Mr. Connor.
Good afternoon.
He's very low. I can't hear him.
Hold on 1 minute. Let me see. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, again, this is Abraham calling from New Jersey. Guys, thanks for the effort, man. But sometimes when these discussions are going on, it's just important to put our little 2 cent ideas in. First thing first, You guys need to stop calling United Party opposition. United Party is a former ruling party, full stop. Anything that they are doing is all about how they can get back to power, to finish their unfinished business. That's one. Two, go back to his story. When Talbot served as vice president of Tottenham and Tottenham died, he immediately assumed the leadership. And you saw what happened to the structure of the true party at the time, to the point that you had the Bright faction wherein Talbot was not cooperating with them. But later on, he wanted brought in a bishop to be his vice president, unilaterally. So the fear there that people are raising is legitimate. That indeed you're going to have you have an aging president. There's no ifs and buts about it. First and foremost, Liberia has never had a president that has a pacemaker at age 80, full stop. So we need not to kind of sugarcoat this thing. Those things need to be highlighted. As long as you get in the political arena, those things will be synchronized and then they will come to the full light. Those are things that people need to factor in. Okay? And the fact that, just to correct my brother, Mr. Eastman, when he stated that the president mentioned Mayor Koji in DC, I was there. But Eastman, it wasn't Mayor Koji. It had to do with former mayor, the lady, what had to do with the electricity situation. And the president said, I told her to go down easy on the people because of the power theft situation. Mayor Broad. So it was Mayor Broad that the president mentioned, Brother Eastman. It wasn't Mayor Koji. Okay?
Thank you.
Now, lastly, to close on, all of the orchestration that people have been doing to bring the lives of Koji and the lives of Nathaniel Magee, because they know how much these people mobilized for the CDC government in terms of the command they have for the electric, especially the younger generation. So it's like it's a divide, and we'll let neutralize these people, and then it will get to CDC. You can have neutralized Nathaniel Magee today. So Nathaniel Magee is no longer under investigation. They don't care about him anymore because why? They have neutralized him. So is the case with the Koji situation. How can we get rid of this young guy that commanded respect of the young people so much but neutralize CDC? So that's the problem. But the company and this situation for the future.
Thank you, man.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we got the number for the main studio on the line here, 605-313-6004, and the code there is 791403 pound.
Mr. Gilman.
Yes.
Listen, first of all, Joseph Boca was born in 1944. He can't be 80 years old. A lot of you don't even know math. That's the first thing.
Listen. That man don't know when he was born, so don't come out here.
He's a red person.
Listen, that man he could be born 1944, 1934, 1924. So don't come here.
But that applies to you, Mr. Gilman. You were born in the village as well.
Just like he, so don't come out here.
That applies to George.
But Jerome is not trying to be president, though, Mr. Brown.
Was when
that also applies to George Weah, right?
So, let me tell you how the people are doing the interior. They can
let me just tell you this.
Around an event.
Mr.
He born 2 years before, 3 years before. They say, oh, he born around the same time Thomas became president. That had a king from 1944. Joseph Boca does not know his exact age.
I know.
But he has a
that coming with age. But let me tell you this. Joseph Boca picked worrying you people. You are worried. You was still on his side. Is going Jeremiah Koo is going to be the next president, the next vice president of the Liberia. That's how it's going to be. And let me just tell you this: every poll, everything in Liberia, if you walk around Liberia, the more you guys go after Joe Boca, the more he gets popular. So you guys are just wasting your time. You know the unfortunate thing. The unfortunate thing is you guys don't win any population. You guys are not winning nobody over. But you guys are only complaining all day about other people's decisions. What about your decision?
Great. Mr. Finner, Ben, real quick.
Let me one second. I want to ask. Give me 5 seconds.
listen, I'm
No,
coming.
no, no.
Listen, Joseph
Yeah,
Walker,
1
brother,
minute.
in Boston, said he was born during the Great Depression. Great Britain was way before 1944.
Let the other man say
Yeah,
something.
And
Let Mr.
Mr.
Eastman say something.
Padbury,
listen,
Mr.
let me
Eastman,
add to
yes,
Ali said. On the ground in Liberia, Joseph Boakai's conversation is being spoken more and more and more every day. I am witness to that. I was in all the corners and more, and every day you hear it. Every day you hear Joseph Boakai name in the conversation. But this is Liberian people analysis.
But that's a
Just
different argument. We
wait,
know that
wait,
Liberia.
let me finish. This is
Oh
Liberian
my
people.
God.
Just how they wanted George Weah. He was the greatest. He was benevolent. Boom. Yeah, what we got. They're not looking at how he's going to govern. You're just looking at him as an old statesman, been around. Whether he will be running the government, who would be in government, who would be here peaking. They're not even looking at that. I ain't even going to the vice president yet. I'm just going to judge how he will run that government at his advanced age. Tell me somebody else would be running it. It is writing on the wall, but nobody even examining that. They're just looking at him, the statesman, not who will be running the government.
Mr. Ben.
So at that point, we are rolling the dice.
You know, please, I just want to remind all of us here, you know, it is very late in the game. And maybe the host, the next time you invite us here, let me beg that we will be here to discuss the agendas of these political parties. You see, for me, I think what we are doing here, everybody's just talking, giving opinions. I want to see the roadmap for the improvement of Liberia. I want to see it from the ANC. I want to see it from the CDC. I want to see it from the Unity Party. It is unfortunate. We spent almost 2 hours here. Joseph Walker, vice president, you know, Young Kanga, everything. But what happens to Liberia and the Liberian people? I think those are the most important questions that we
have a roadmap.
Sir, excuse me. Excuse me.
Have a roadmap.
Excuse me, sir.
You guys want to carry out the roadmap?
Excuse me, sir. Excuse me, sir. Excuse me, Mr. President.
Do you have a roadmap that we do here, like the pro? You got one. I got a roadmap. I got a propos. What they want you got?
You developed that 6 months in the national. You developed that 6 months when you were already in the national, Jerome.
Mr. Name, that's false. This man was one of those that wrote that thing, and he wrote it way before we came to power.
Now you see, Mr. Eastman has legitimate concerns. But what I'm saying is, where are the blueprints and where are the teams that will be able to execute those blueprints? We must know some of these unknowns. You know, it is unfortunate. We come here and wasted 2 hours of Joe Walker this, you know, yeah, but what is Joe Walker going to do with Liberia? What is the ANC going to do with Liberia? I mean, the ANC, has been one of the most, disgraceful institutions. They have no blueprints. I mean, how are they going to manage Liberia?
False.
How are they going to manage the country?
False.
Thank you. That's all I have.
Nambe, you got to respond to this because this one is too harsh.
False. Look, I have to agree with Ben. I think we should debate the issues. I very much look forward to that, and I can tell you that Mr. Cummings and the CPP do have a blueprint. They have a roadmap to the executive mansion. I mean, if anything, I think he is the only person who does have the roadmap to the executive mansion, and we can debate that. But the reason why we are talking about performance here today, the problem with Liberia is not necessarily the absence of written material. There is so much written about good governance in Liberia, how to run a corporation and all of that. But the problem has always been our ability to stick to the plan. We may have the best written plan, but the moment we get in office, we toss it. You just show me your proper agenda. What is on that agenda that you have accomplished? You've been in the mansion almost 6 years now. Absolutely nothing. So this is all fiamomo. Our people know that. You come and flash all the beautiful plans and all of that. We are talking about demonstrated competence and experience. That's what we're talking about. The ambassador has been in government, 40 years or so? You know, yes, he has the experience, but where is the competence? I have listened to him on a number of occasions. He's putting forward absolutely nothing to address the problem that we're facing. Ambassador, he's clueless. He is completely absent. I'm telling you, Ellis Cummings, he gives us the best option to take Liberia out of this mess that we're in today.
Great.
Thank you.
Mr. Nambe, thank you very much for selling pig in the bag. We're not going to buy that pig.
Go to
You
Coca-Cola.
telling me I should trust you that even though you don't have anything written, when you get there, you're going to do it.
I know, I didn't say that.
I don't even think the baby will buy that.
I didn't say that.
Gentlemen, let's go to the last one. If we have a call, Mr. CA, please bring them on. Let's read some of the comments here. If there's no call, and then we go to the last comment here.
We have two callers, Jerome. Let me bring that in. We have Evan Morris. Mr. Morris, you are live. Evan, you are live. Mr. Evan Morris? Hold on, Jerome. Let me make an adjustment here. I don't know why I'm not hearing. Mr. Morris, are you there?
You hear me now?
Yes, I am. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you for letting me on.
Okay.
Who was the caller that called Mr. Gilman phone?
Go ahead. You can reference the caller. Go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you guys for the show and hello to all the panelists. Just sorry for not coming on, Mr. Gilman. I have some other issues I have to take care of. Well, quickly, let me just say this. So, Mr. Ben, sometimes I think most of the time you make good points, but I think to try to downplay the quote unquote Bassa belt, that's not true. The reality is the Bassa people make up about 18% of the population in Liberia. They're the second most popular group in the country. Although no group is a monolith or homogeneous group that vote one way all the time, but certainly the Yombi Kanga will bring some sympathy to, the Bassa people will have some sympathy for Yombi Kanga Lawrence. So don't just diminish her in terms of not having, political bona fides by, just being a Bassa woman. The reality is in our country, we do vote sometimes down ethnic lines. And it's been like that for many elections. Why do Joseph Park, I think he has the people in local vote, not because those are his kingsmen or, like he call them the cousins and whatever, or the uncles and the uncle and auntie. It's the same thing. So nobody should try to downplay, or trapper politics in our country. And I think, Mr. Aliyu, I think sometimes you need to show a little bit of, decorum on the show. When other people are talking, you got to let them talk and express themselves and not try to belittle them. But overall, I will say this. If Prince Johnson gets anywhere close to the presidency, there's one particular county in that country that will react. All those things I've been hearing about guns being in Grandia and this and that, the TLC hasn't healed that wound. That wound is still open. As a prime man, I'm telling you, if y'all want peace in our country, Prince Johnson should get nowhere close to it. Because if Joe hasn't been avenged, if Prince Johnson get there, we will all die on the battlefield. So y'all shouldn't even allow it to happen. And I think Johnson will not even stupid enough to let Jeremiah Pond beat him. Because even if you have to rig the election, you would do it for the sake of the country. Yeah, Ellen Johnson said the election was rigged for the quote unquote sake of the country, the getting for war. They won't go back to war. They'll bring somebody competent. Joshua will do the same thing. I will leave it there.
All right.
That's all.
Thank you, Avis. Another caller with the name Topman here, phone number ending in 5514. You are live. Let's hear you.
Yeah, thank you so much. And I want to say thank you to the panelists on the show this evening. Very interesting discussion. And I guess two things to say. I would want to agree with Mr. Eastman. He set a very good point. And I will come to that a little bit, but let me just say this. You see, we all are doing, and I said this platform is one of the most respectable Liberian platforms. And a lot of the panelists that come on the show, they are intellectuals, they bring out good points, and they educate a lot of people. If people listen to this platform. So I think it's time for we Liberians to get away from this tribal, all we discuss here, Bassa Bell, the Nimba people, it's time for us to get away from these things. Where we are right now, Mr. Waka has already taken 5% running mate. That's clear. It's not going to change. It's not an issue right now. All right. All we should be focusing on now, what is the agenda of this party, the political party? where they want to lead the country. You see, where they want to lead the country. So that's what I expect this platform to be focusing on. What is the agenda of these different political parties? Holding with their feet on fire. Let them tell us what they're going to do. Instead of coming on the show, talking about the Bassa Bell, the Nevada, making one county or one group of people more important than the other group. We have 16 subdivisions in Liberia, and we all know that. Everybody is important. Everybody is the feature of every Liberian we're talking about. You see? So I'll beg you guys to put away this tribalistic politics on this show. Talk about the issue, and the issue is what these people want to do. They want to remove the judge as the CDC government. All right, what is their agenda? What is trying to lead the country to? What is their roadmap? How do we achieve these things? These are things we will be talking about. You see, it doesn't matter who picks who for what group of people and all that. It should be over. Mr. Guaca picks his VP, that's fine. He's from Nehemiah, that's okay. That's his thing. It's over with.
Thank you.
Mr. Cummings can come and pick somebody. It's not important. What is important is you hold these people to their feet. What is their agenda? How they want to lead this country? If you want to move Mr. Weir government, what is the plan you have? Let them discuss it. Let them tell us. Let them convince the Liberian people. And for you people to come over here and just be talking about this trap. Please, let's get away from this thing.
Thank you. Well said.
Thank you so much.
You are welcome.
Thank you.
Laron, that will be the last quarter from our end here. It's over to you.
Great. Ladies and gentlemen, some of us that have worked in the international space, work with federal government, working politics in this country. Anyone who tells you that they are not tribal politics in the United States, tell them they are liars. You can look at Mr. Padmo here, and you want to say, because he mentioned the Bassa Bell mean that, he's some tribalist. That's false. Okay, this man is one of the most liberal of all the folks on this platform. But what I'm telling you here is when I was working with the Barack Obama campaign in 2008, when you talk about, there are certain places in this country, when you talk about Ohio, they call it the Rust Belt. And there are messages that are designed for the Rust Belt. When you talk about the Southern Bar, the Southern Belt, there are messages that are catered to those particular folks. When we are having our St. Patrick's Day parades, you see people crafting their messages to the Irish. So don't let anybody fool you that we don't have tribal politics here. We do. And the messages are crafted for those people. So when you look at the Bassa Belt, you have to talk the language of the Bassa people or the people that live in that area. If you go to Nima, you have to talk about like Lamco and metal steel and the mines and what they are digging and all of that. That is specific to them. When we talk about the Wologisi Mountain, we are talking about that particular belt. Now, lately, we'll be talking about the Western Cluster. Okay? We are talking about the Western Cluster. What is the Western Cluster? You are talking about Bomi, you talk about Cape Mount, you talk about, how do you call that? Bapolo. These are all political strategy. It doesn't mean that when Cummings becomes president, he's not going to hire anybody from Bassa or Lofa. So let us not fool ourselves that we're only talking tribal politics here. No, it's not. But you have to design your messages based on the concerns of those people in those localities. What concerns Bassa people about our beaches and other may not concern those in Bapolo. So that's what we are talking about. We're not talking about being segregative and being prejudiced against other people because they're from a certain tribe. But yes, strategically, we have to go by those things we know. Somebody talk about a pathway to the presidency. What is your pathway to the presidency? We say if you win, some people say if you win Bong, Nima, Lofa, Montserrat, you win. Who lives in Bong? Who lives in Nima? Who lives in Montserrat? Who lives in Lofa? You know there are tribal people that live in those areas. So we are not I don't think Mr. Kamara is going to say because we won, so we don't want to go down to the southeast. No, it's not, but that's a political message. Go ahead, Mr. Kamara.
Yeah. Listen, first of all, let me be honest here, okay? There is a Bassa Belt.
And I'm wearing it now. It's right here. You want to see it? I'm wearing my Bassa belt.
there is a Bassa, but you know something I believe in, even though it sounds simplistic. If the word wanted all of us to have no divisions, we were all going to be one color, one language, one everything. If nature separated us for a reason, okay, there is a Bassa belt, there is a Northern belt. There are people, when you see Lofa Country goes for Joseph Juma Boakai, it's because of the history that back all the way to Mali. That history comes all the way until the end of Montserrat County. That side is highly likely to go for anyone from that side. It is a fact. We are tribal people. Everybody on the show has a tribe. And therefore, I don't like to use the word tribalistic because it's not a word, but we all are tribalists one way or the other. Now let's just set certain things straight. Somebody call and talking complete tabata, talking about the crown and this person cannot be because of this person cannot be. When Prince Johnson was campaigning for CDC, it didn't mean anything to the citizens. At that time, Prince Johnson didn't kill people. You see, this is the kind of nonsense I don't waste my time on, and people say I can answer questions short. But go to the next person.
Great. Mr. Eastman, let's go to our final topic here real quick. Then we go to our closing. And I want 1 minute from you before you go into 1 minute, and that is the president firing of the post and telecommunication person. What did the president do the right thing? Was he right? Did he have the authority to do so?
Okay, very good. First, I'd like to full disclosure. Mr. Kra, or Councilor Kra, is a friend of mine. Every time I go visit him. He's one of my favorite ministers and buddies. I go there all the time. I don't want to get that out of the way. But his presence at that rally, okay, was viewed as a betrayal, as a joining with forces against the current administration.
Which rally?
Excuse me?
Which rally? Which rally?
The announcement of the VP candidature or whatnot the other day. He was present there, and that was looked at as he was joining forces with them. And it was upon that I believe the decision was taken. I think in hindsight, I would have, if he knew he had to take a central role, being the chairman of that party, the MDR, and he knew he had to take a central role, I think it would have been proper had he resigned. There have been calls for people to resign who want to participate in the elections are coming. I know we didn't pick up that issue, but I think that is an issue we should discuss, that people should, who in government right now, if they plan to run, they should resign as stipulated in the Constitution. But his prudent decision was to excuse himself from government so he can exercise his chairmanship for the party. But I think the president was in his right, and it was, to me, it was a defensive move. That's how I look at it.
Mr. Patmore.
I don't look. The president has a right to do what he wants to do, you know, and stuff like that. Was it classless? Was it tasteless? Yes, but I mean, you know, when you subject yourself to the whims, you know, what does the Constitution say? The president can appoint, you know, and dismiss, you know, at his pleasure. So when you subject yourself to the whims and pleasure of somebody else, that's what you get. You know, was it classless? Yes. Was it tasteless? Yes. But am I surprised that George Weah would do such a thing? No, not at all. You know, we saw Ellen. George Weah was employed in Ellen's government 9 years out of the 12. You know, he was peace ambassador, he was senator, Nathaniel McGill was minister, you know, and at that time they were running a protest. They were running protests and people were getting arrested. She didn't fire Ambassador Weah. She didn't do it, you know. So, you know, it is what it is. I'm not surprised that CDC would do such, but that's what happens.
Right. Mr. Nami, real quick.
No, absolutely. I completely agree. I think it is within the president's purview, but I think there is something we call optics. I think the optics of it just look bad. The optics look bad on the part of the minister. the optics also look bad on the part of the president because now he looks vengeful. The Constitution guarantees all the negotiation. But I will agree with Mr. Eastman. There was a time for those who are interested in, running for office to leave the government. The minister did not, and what he demonstrated there, I think, was not in good taste. But I also agree the president's reaction was also not in good taste.
Great, Mr. Finier.
Yeah, I want to agree with everybody who spoke, but one thing I have to say, this idea that individuals who serve, they serve at their will and pleasure, I think it leads to what I call an imperial presidency, because that can also result in what I call abuse of power. It is unfortunate in Liberia that it is designed this way, and those are some of the kind of legislative bills we need to see, so that some of those things, can be changed, because nobody should have like unchecked power. Nobody. Power will always be abused. And let me just say one thing. People talk about, George Weah, was a peace ambassador. Yes. Nathaniel McGill, he was with CDC, he was working in the UP government. So, let's be fair. I don't think it was the right move. I think the optics are very bad because it comes off like retaliatory. You can't do that. You can't. At some point in time, you have to exercise restraint. I think it was a wrong move, and that will backfire. So Liberians need to kind of redesign in terms of maybe designing a new law so that the individual who head the state cannot have unchecked power. That is a frightening thing. It's very frightening. Thank you.
Great. Ladies and gentlemen, we are about to go into our closing. I think it is highly unusual and unlikely that President Joe Biden, on his strategic team, will have a Republican who is also serving on Trump's advisory committee. It just wouldn't happen. You can forget it. It just wouldn't happen. So, Mr. Eastman, 1 minute. We got about 4 minutes here to closing. Could you please give us your closing statement?
Yeah, the election is coming to an interesting point, and unfortunate that I see, but I believe the opposition is doing everything it can to defeat itself. All the choices, all the squabbling among themselves, they have been shooting themselves in the foot. So it's almost like you ushering in a second term for Weah. This is how I look at the opposition decisions right now. There may be a dark horse in the race because my colleague, Councilor Gongo, will be good, but I don't see him with that much traction right now. Cummings will be very lucky to have somebody like Cummings, but I don't see him with enough traction. And the moves I see being made by the ambassador and his lack of the planning and leadership, I think that we'll see another second term of President Weah.
Thank you. Mr. Kamara?
Yes. Thank you for having me, Mr. Gilman. Thanks to Focus on Liberia for being one of the most reputable platforms you can find anywhere on the internet. Let me reassure the people of Liberia, do not listen to Victor. Don't listen to Patmo. These people, they just spoilers. They don't have what it takes to even come third place at this point as we speak. However, they have taken the initiative to make Joseph Boakai their competitor when the gap between them is too wide. Now, let me say this to Liberia. Your decision to support Joseph Boakai is overwhelming and it's everywhere. It's spelled out, like Mr. Ismail would say, is written on the wall, even though he does not want to fully attest to it, but it's written on the wall that the people of Liberia have decided. They are reserved. They are resolved. I want to put both together. And so I want to assure you that when Joseph Boakai becomes the next president, Joseph Boakai will improve your security sector. Joseph Boakai will improve your human rights record. Joseph Boakai will bring electricity all over the country. Joseph Boakai will bring your food production to the highest scale you can find anywhere in sub-Saharan Africa. Joseph Boakai has plans. Joseph Boakai is not a radio man. He's not a TV man. Like all of these guys who are talking and showing how much intelligence they have. That's not Joseph Boakai. Joseph Boakai is a handyman. He does the work before he says a word. So please do not change your mind. Don't listen to this guy. These guys are intelligent people. So if you listen to them, they might lead you the wrong way, even though they're not going to win. So we don't want any numbers taken away from us. We only want more numbers to be added to us. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Victor?
Yeah, thank you very much. I think good discussion. I agree again with Mr. Finney that I think when we come back again, let's debate the issues. And I'm not going to dignify what Mr. Kamara is saying here. I think we all are trying to get the best for Liberia, and I think we should stick at it. We should stay with it until we get the best for the country. I do insist that all the candidates on the spectrum right now, I think Mr. Cummings presents the best option to help Liberia out of the situation we're in right now. He has the requisite knowledge, the competence, and the international exposure because, unfortunately, Liberia, our international partners play a major part in our development, and I believe Mr. Cummings is the man for that job. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mr. Patmore?
Everybody else done? Okay, all right.
No, I'm not done.
No,
Mr.
Patmore, go ahead.
You sure?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, all right. So, look, I keep hearing people talk about, we should discuss the issues. Unfortunately, none of the candidates yet have presented their platforms. If we start talking right now, we'll just be talking guesswork. I believe there's a time for everything. Right now, it's a time of the picking of the VPs. After that is done, then the candidates will present their platforms. There will be debates. There will be exchange of ideas. So we'll get to that point. We shouldn't rush. We'll get to that point. We have 5 months to election. So we'll get to that point. Concerning Mayor Koji, it's disheartening when you see a young man like that always surrounded with such activity. I'm hoping that that it is not true, but from what we've heard, what we've seen, it's hard to keep hoping that way. Finally, concerning the lack of leadership of Ambassador Boakai, okay, here's the thing. Look, this man was the head of CPP when CPP nearly disintegrated.
Oh man.
Okay. And I remember he came to the U.S. And at the U.S., he gave a speech. And at that speech, he promised the people, he said, when I get back to Liberia, I will bring the people together and we will solve that problem.
Get over it.
When he came to got back to Liberia, he scattered everything. People try to find excuses for that. But then we see it again. Once more, he has they try to bring Cummings. This time Cummings was not in the mix. But now he has done it again. ALP has gone their way. The tag team has gone their way.
Nice business.
Henry Costa has gone their way.
Oh man, hurry up and land. We're running out of time here.
Now we see Destiny alone. We're cool. This shows a lack of leadership. Can you imagine when you have to unite an entire country after elections? How are you going to do it when you can unite just a few bunch of people?
You're not your business.
And so those things concern us.
Okay.
It concerns us very much. It shows the lack of leadership that, people can say what they want to say. It's romantic to talk about, the old man with wisdom.
Come on, my man, hurry up.
Old man with wisdom. But until you exemplify the wisdom and you exemplify what it really needs, it's not, we can't buy that. We are not going to, we bought you, we are pig in the bag. We're not buying another pig in the bag again. I don't care how old that pig is.
Thank you
very much.
Thank you. Fanel.
Yeah, sadly, I have to close on this. My good friend Padmo just made an astounding statement.
If you call my name, I will have to repeat. That's your problem. That is your problem.
He said none of the individuals or the organization have showcased their blueprints. Now, why was the ANC formed? The ANC calls itself the alternative. A party is formed with the sole intent of achieving political power. And you are telling me that you cannot tell us your blueprint because nobody else has showcased theirs? This is a sign of the incompetence that marks the ANC. Then I'll go to my friend Nami Kamara. Kamara said JMB will put light in your house. He will do everything. He has plans that nobody has seen. It is almost fantastical. But let me tell Liberians what we know. The Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations has a report. You guys can search it online right now that says Liberia currently faces significant food insecurity. The World Bank has a report out right now that says poverty in Liberia is going to rise in the next 3 years. These are things that political parties find solutions. They try to preempt this thing because we have sufficient warnings. And these people are telling me, well, we will not show our plan because nobody not showed a plan yet, or we have a plan that nobody has not seen. My brothers and sisters, leading the country takes work. They require competent people. These organizations, they are so look at where we are right now. These people had a CPP that literally broke down before our eyes in such disgraceful fashion. They have shown no capacity to lead. They have zero vision, and it's a tragedy. George Weah that has failed to such an unimaginable extent. Some people are even suggesting that he will win re-election. This degree of failure, George Weah shouldn't even be in this race anymore. That's the tragedy of Liberia. That's where we are. I want Liberians to think and ask questions, demand answers before they vote for anyone. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I will want to bring on, before we close, we bring on the political bulldog and let him give his people few words. He been on the hiatus. He's back, ready, well rested, ready to bite. This man is not a regular bulldog. He's a mixed. So get ready. Mr. Shea, welcome back. And your program is still here. Your platform is still here. Your folks make sure every day we get a comment. Where is Anthony C? Where is Anthony C? How are you doing? How's the family, my friend?
I'm doing well. And yeah, it's Anthony C. I want to say a big thanks to the entire crew for holding it down while I was away on a well-deserved vacation of 2 months. I feel a little rested. The political season has started. Some people want to see me contributing just as I have started. So it's good to be back. Great discussion. I listened to everything. I enjoyed the discussion. Aliyu always made me to laugh. There's something he sees in Bwaka that I don't see. Maybe what Bwaka would give it to us this time. When he couldn't give it to us many years ago, can he? That's the question I'm asking. On the ANC side, Ben is trying to be tough here. The issue about plan is something that I have always asked these people. Where are their plans? ANC got something. The Awangonglo got something. The CDC talking about the PAPD will go back to it. I'm sure that's the same thing they'll be running on. Bwaka has an acronym, arrest. It came from arts to arrest, and there's nothing written about it. Just those 5-letter words. And that's what the man is running with to be president of this country. That is why we need answers, because you can't get in an executive mansion and think that that's when you will decide your plan. Especially given now that, according to Ben, we shouldn't be talking about we are being on a ticket in the first place because he has failed to a level that we did not even imagine. And now somebody wanting to take over from where has no plan and thinking he should be elected first. That's disaster on day one. We can't swallow that, for we have seen it all in this country. But again, I have not started yet. I'm just coming back. This evening, we're having a show at 7 p.m. Eastern Time and 6 p.m. Central Time. I will be your host. The panelists are all set. We will be discussing major issues. Do Cummins and Gonglo have better option for VP pick, or they're going to go eat from Waka's table? I'll tell you what table is when the show starts. Pro Tem Chair goes after U.S. Ambassador for his recent statement. The panelists will be here. Buffer Chambers, the speaker, is devaluing thousands in Maryland County. We will go into that. And we are goes on a trip again. Oh, we are. The proper president. The hotel he lodged in, $1,700 per night. There where the proper president is sleeping. I have questions. My analysts will give the answers. If they give me meat, I will be happy. If they give me bones, I will kick them out. I'm back. Let's do it, Jerome. It's over to you.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, that's the Port Bulldogs. He's taking a pass shot as my president. President Weir, the PAPD, right here. We call it the Holy Bible. And Mr. Fanel, thank you for putting this together. But we are building roads. We got scholarship. We got hospitals. We got healthcare. You name it. The 4 pillars of the PAPD. Number 1, power to the people.
Yeah, right.
Even the U.S. ambassador referred to Liberia as one of the freest. Where freedom of speech. And you saw the Camara Act, the freedom of speech. Liberia, where another sitting lawmaker can curse the president and his mother and everybody, and he's still walking around. We had no political prisoners. Ladies and gentlemen, President Weir is God sent to this country, and he's going to, you watch for the second term. He is going to take us, I don't want to use the word from the past, let's say higher height, but he's going to take us to the highest height. Ladies and gentlemen, when it's 4 o'clock on Sundays, is on point. We are making sure that these gentlemen, these brilliant men, we want to bring some women here. I call my sister G Talk, and she doesn't want to come on the show. We're looking for ladies, please, to come over here and defend and give a view of the women. I'm going to give you another try. Mr. Nangwe, if you know of any women in the CPP or in the UPP that want to come on, please invite them. Mr. Padmo, same thing here. Please. Mr. Kamara, if you have any women on your side, I want to come in. Let's encourage more women to get involved into our discourse. Mr. Eastman, same thing here. Let's encourage our women. Let them come on here. We love to hear from them. They are actual, they are truthful, they are honest in their dispensation. When you hear from them, it's legit. And ladies and gentlemen, please tune back in at 7 o'clock. The new and improved political bulldog will be here. Boy, he's going to be biting. This guy's hungry. He has not eaten for 2 months. Yes, come on. He's going to have the ANC, the CDC, the United Party. He's going to have us for lunch. Well, for dinner. For tonight. So let's guys come on. Mr. Nambi, I'm going to be calling you. I'm going to be calling on you hopefully next Sunday. You are around. Mr. Padma is always here as always. Mr. Eastman is here. Mr. Kamara, if you have time next Sunday, let us come. I'm going to add you onto the group chat. Let us all contribute issues that we want to discuss. I know you guys want to discuss policy. Please put it in there. We'll develop it together and come up. So ladies and gentlemen, as always in our show, we are all Liberians, whether you are in position, opposition, wherever it is, we are all Liberian. Remember, there's no more war. We're going to fight a war right here. Mr. Bulldog, can you please take us out with our song, We Are All Liberians?
We are Liberians. Liberia is our home. Liberian people. Liberia.